Spoiled mama on the go, lighting up the road, carrying hard and bubbly smile, lifting up the load. Sweet and helpful, got that cheer. Every friend all year, witty spark and endless laughs, always bringing near. Yeah, then shoulders show, sailing wide, oceans calling true. Travel far and stroll, travel far, discover more, seas that sparkle blue. Cruising waves, the breeze in hair, trail without a map. Mom and family side by side, take another lap. Oh, my land, take us home where the wild winds blow. From Canada to distant shores, with love will always go. Oh, my land, light the night, guide us with your flame. With your spirit, we are free and never be the same. Family ties that never break, love that leads the way. In your arms we find the strength, rocking every day. Smiles that shine on rainy days, through the fog and mist. In your warmth, our hearts are held. Feel that gentle kiss. Oh, like the land, take us home where the wild winds blow. From Canada to distant shores, with love will always go. Oh, like the land, light the night, guide us with your flame. With your spirit, we are free, never be the same. Mountains high and valleys low, through it all you stand. Anchor strong in stormy seas, steady as the land. Memory of every trip, laughter on the breeze. With you, life's an endless ride, always here to please.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Let's see who we got in chat tonight. Let's see, it's been jumping over here. First one in, Controversial Cruising. Hi, Scott. Roxanne. She's hiding down there. I'll bring her up in a sec. We got Danny. Scott. Hi, Scott. Hi, Danny. Hi, Roxanne. And then we got Liz coming in. Everybody saying hi to everybody. Liz, what's up, Liz? Not much, Danny. How about you? And good, Liz. Legs are sore from work today. I had that's a dirty 4-letter word. Thanks, Scott. That was just a bunch of pictures I threw together. Just kind of tells this whole story about Michael Ann. Oh, sorry, your back hurts. Heating pad soon. Yeah, that works for me when thank goodness. Knock on wood. mine's not bothering me too much at the moment. What's up, Scott, Danny, Liz, Danny, Danny. Roxanne's playing peekaboo. Yep, peekaboo. Come on, peekaboo. There she is.
Hello.
She was hiding down there.
Yeah, I like to hide.
Well, I was going to bring her up at one point. Then she went away, and there was Mr. Avatar. Then she came back. Then she went away. I was like, okay, I'll wait till.
Yep, had to go get my water.
I got prepared. I ran downstairs in about 9 minutes too. Refilled 2. This is my long-term one, and this is one I got this past year to go on the cruise. So
Oh, I like that one.
you like that one? I got that one for like $10 over at it was Walmart in the States. It was on the clearance thing. Nothing wrong with it. I was like, okay. I was looking for one similar, the same size, because I had to replace a piece inside because it was getting yucky. So I got that.
Here's one of my new ones bought yesterday. Aldi's has got their Disney sale going on this week. So anybody need $9.99 Disney?
I won't be able to go to Aldi's until midsummer. Danny's asking if there was any spiders down there. I hope not.
No, I killed them yesterday.
Oh, good. Hydration is key. Yep. Danny needs a tumbler. I think Danny's got several tumblers.
If you need anything like that for Disney, go to your nearest Aldi's before they sell them out.
I've never been over. I've never seen any of that stuff or the old Aldi's over by my cousins, but it's mostly food. It's got a very small aisle, like half an aisle on either side, and that's about it. Everything else is food.
Well, they started. Well, most of them have a shame, but anyway, that sale started Wednesday. When it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Well,
I got the matching stuff to go with it.
You're all set.
Yeah, just to hold my bottle and my purse. So
nice.
I'm all set.
Nice. Well, the one thing I did get at Aldi's that was good was my first 2 sets of packing cubes I got at Aldi's.
Yes.
Both first 3-piece. First one was black, and then the other one was like pink and teal and like neon green. And then I won a couple of carnival ones on Match Game, so I have several packing cubes. I think I'm going to pass one set of those along to somebody probably in the next few months. Just excited. I'm hoping to get to meet Scott in May, crossing fingers. I'll cross our fingers for you too. So I figured tonight, I don't know, thought crossed my mind a few weeks ago. Now, the question was, does size matter? But we're not going down. We're not going down the gutter there.
Depends on what it is.
Well, you know, every so often I'm going to bring things cruise related. So looking at the different things and people going on different ships, and some people like the big ships, some people like the little ships. So I did a little presentation thing, and then I might talk through it, but let's find the thing. Liz says we did a whole video series called "The Size Matter" when we started the channel. Let's see. Now I get. Make sure I get that up there. Come on. There it is. And bring it up big so we can see it. I get down here. So my question was, does size matter? And I put a picture of, I don't know, some cruise ship in there. It looks like an old one. MSC, see something, I don't know.
Who knows what ship it is?
Okay, come on. 1 second, 1 second. This is being. All right, there we go. I got to get so I can bring up the. Get over there. The question is, how big is too big? And I did a little research, but I've known this for a while. Cruise ships are measured in gross tonnage. And this is a measurement of the internal volume based on the total enclosed space. So you take all the space inside the ship, all the space added up together. So the total enclosed space. So starting with the very first two ships I went on. The first one was the Carnival Horizon. And the Carnival Horizon was 134,000 gross tonnage. And when I was on that one, I thought, this ship's big enough for me, because going from one end to another and getting around, it's like, wow, that's a big ship. I don't need to go on anything bigger. So, and it was 1,055 feet long, and it's 15 decks. And then I went on the Carnival Breeze, which was a little bit smaller, only 130,000 gross tonnage, 1,004 feet long, and 14 decks. Now, where the gross tonnage vary there's like 51 feet longer the Horizon is, and 4,000 gross tonnage more. Well, some of them get their difference on the width too, but the Horizon and the Breeze were the same width. MSC Seascape, yeah, probably. So then I thought, well, what's the biggest Carnival ship? Which is what I looked at. It's the Jubilee, and it's 183,000 gross ton. It's 1,133 feet long, and it has 20 decks. So it's got 5 more decks, and it's about 78 feet longer. The width, the beam width. Now, beam width. I had to. I'm going to go with the beam width because some of these put beam width, some put max width. Now, the beam width is the distance across at the waterline. Now, the beam width on the Breeze and the Horizon is 122 feet. The beam width on the Carnival Jubilee is 137, 138 feet. Yeah. Okay. I've seen the Jubilee when we were in Galveston. We drove by one day and we seen the Jubilee like from the dock, and then when we got back in to port on the last day of the cruise, we're docked behind. Couldn't get a really good view, but so I thought. I was thinking the Horizon was the biggest. I don't need to go on anything bigger. Well, then in November I got to go on the Encore, which is 169,119 gross ton. It's 1,097 feet long, 20 decks, which is 5 decks taller than the Horizon, and the width is 136 feet, so about 14 feet wider. So it's a bit bigger. It's a bit bigger. Only 42 feet longer. Doesn't look much longer, but I thought, oh, that's pretty big. It's pretty big. At the point right now, it is the biggest ship sailing for the NCL. However, coming out in 2027 is the NCL Aura. Now, it's about the same gross ton. It's about between 169 170 gross ton. It's 1,130 feet long, so it's a little over 100 feet longer. The beam width is 141 feet, so it's only 5 feet wider. And 21 decks, so it's got one more deck than the Encore. So they're not going a whole lot bigger. Now, one thing we did get to see when we cruised out of Miami on the Encore was, and I'm thinking, there's a couple other big ships out there that I thought were huge, but when we were cruising out on the Encore, I didn't think they were much bigger than the Encore. So first one being MSC World America. Now it's 215 to 216 gross ton. So it is a bigger tonnage. 1,094 feet long, so it's 3 feet shorter than the Encore. It's 22 decks, so it has 2 more decks than Encore. But the big difference, it's 154 feet across waterline. So you're looking at it 18 feet wider. So that's where it's getting its more gross tonnage inside. So it's shorter than the Encore, wee bit taller, and a little bit bigger gross tonnage. I got a couple pictures I'll show after. Now, the other big one there was the Icon of the Seas, which is 248,663 gross ton, 1,196 feet long, so it's just about 99 feet longer than the Encore. Okay, I'll give it that. The beam width is 213 feet. So we're looking at about 90 feet wider. And it's 20 decks, so it's got the same number of decks as the Encore. And I got a couple pictures I'll show in a minute. Now this one I took from the Encore looking across. So from that angle, it doesn't look all that big. We're looking right across there. I thought we'd, go by the Encore. It's going to be way taller and way wider or way longer. It makes the difference on the width because it's 213 feet across. I got a rear picture of it I'll show afterwards. So I didn't feel when we were on the Encore that, we were that much smaller than these giants of the Icon and World America. The big difference is when you look across the aft end of them. So I did a little bit more research on these big ones that are coming out of from Royal Caribbean. The next one is Star of the Seas. It's about the same gross ton, give or take. It's about the same length. Beam width is actually narrower than the Icon at water level. The beam, so that's down here at the bottom, going across. Now you look up here, when you're looking across this kind of width, the max is 219 feet across. And it's got 20 decks. Now the other ones coming out are Legend of the Seas. We're looking at about the same size, pretty much. The width, they said 213 feet. They didn't specify whether that was the max width or the beam width. And then the other one coming out is the Hero of the Seas. And again, they're about the same size. Yep. Get rid of that.
Am I froze? Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Liz loves big ships. She cannot not. Actually, I know Carnival Cruise addicts prefer the small to mid-size ship with less people. I don't. Actually, I did see a little bit, but I want to share about Icon in a minute. I did look at it for Roxy's sake. I did look up the specifics on the two other ships she's been on. I'll share the. I've got share screen. Oh, come on. Share screen. This one. Now, this is when we were on the Encore and looking at the back end of the Icon, which was ahead of us in port. That's where you see the big difference between these ships. It's not in the length, or the height, it's in the width. And then the other one I showed was World America, and it's 2 decks higher than the Encore. So these decks up here were the ones that were taller than the Encore. So to me, they didn't look that gigantic when we were sailing past them. I gotta find my way back to here. And Roxy's back.
My kind of body type, nice and wide.
A wide ass. Now, I've watched a couple other channels that I follow recently go on cruises on spring break. The one channel, they had their sister-in-law and niece and nephews. And like, I know the nieces and nephews, they had a channel, but that's a long story. When I seen them go on a cruise before, the cruise they went on before was the Horizon. So that's kind of a mid-sized ship compared to, if you go all the way across the size of ships. They went from that, they just went on the Icon, and I was watching their experiences of the Icon, and to me, Icon's too big. There's a lot of stuff there. It's almost overwhelming. There's so much stuff. That's what kind of turns me off, those big ships. You're talking about. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to go anything on like Icon or the Star or the Legend or the Hero. I don't need Central Park that they have or all those fluffy details. Like, yes, it's good family friendly. It's got lots of stuff for families and stuff to do. At my age, I don't need all that. I'm happy with like the Encore was fine. It was bigger than Horizon. I didn't think I would go bigger. Encore was fine. You had your restaurants. You had that. You didn't have this grandiose, over-the-top stuff like I see on Icons. And then the other channel I followed, I could only find one ship they went on. They went on Oasis of the Seas. So a smaller ship in the Royal Caribbean line. And then they just went on the NCL Viva on March break, which is a little bit smaller than the Encore. So I don't know. I looked up a couple the ships you went on, Roxy, the Grandiosa.
Uh huh.
Gross tonnage, it's a little bit more gross ton than the Encore at 181,000, but it's 10 feet shorter than the Encore. It's about 5 feet wider, and it only had 18 decks compared to the Encore. So I don't know where they're getting that extra 5 feet wide, where they're getting their extra gross ton. I don't know.
I don't know, but it had that big old alley. I call it alleyway, big old walkway with restaurants and shops all down each side. And that's what I liked about it. You weren't so tight in with people. You had room to move.
And then you went on the Disney Wish was the other one, right?
Yeah, the Disney Wish.
So it was 144,000 gross ton, which is less than the Encore. It's a little bit longer at 1,119 feet. It's about 8 feet narrower and 128 feet and at the water line and 15 decks. So I don't know. I can go between the Horizon and the Encore. I don't have any desire to go bigger myself. Now, I don't know what whoever is watching this now or watching this on the replay, tell me in the comments what are your favorite size ships? Do you like the big ships? What do you like about the big ships?
Even though those big ships have, the big and have a lot on it, you do have a little more walkway. They're a little bit wider in that sense. Because the Encore, to me, the corridors, the hallways were so small. They weren't very wide.
The hallways down the between the cabins I found were narrower compared to even the Horizon. But I'm just saying I don't need the great big grandiose Central Park thing. Like on Icon they have, and some of those ones they have, you got your balcony cabins on the outside of the ship looking out of the ocean, and then you got an interior balcony when you look down on Central Park. When you get the noise of that, or you're looking like when we're in port, and you're looking right across another ship, and the balconies are right there. That's what it could look like in the Central Park thing. You're like under your balcony, but you right across there's a balcony looking back at you, and it's like, I don't know, it's just a lot. It's like overkill, but that's just my personal preference. Liz says we will try the big ship just to see what they have to offer, but we prefer small ships. Yeah, I haven't got anything. Well, the Breeze is the smallest I've gone on, 130,000 gross tons. I don't know if I would go down to the ones that are like, I don't know. I don't know how much smaller I would go if I went. Looking up the scan spell. It's just like Carnival Magic. I know it's one that Liz and Chris have been on. It's 130,000 gross tons, so about the same gross tonnage as the Breeze. 1,004 feet long, 122 at beam length. Yeah, that's not bad. So it gives the same size as similar size to the Breeze. I know one of the Helping Hands cruises went on the Pride, and Pride was less than 100,000 gross ton. Your next ship is 88,500 gross ton, and that's going to Alaska, correct? Yep. The Spirit, Colonel Spirit. I was trying to think. I was like, which one?
I haven't wanted to go to Alaska. I don't know why. It's not on my bucket list.
It's kind of on mine. It was kind of on mine for 2028 for my 65th birthday, but seeing as I'm going to be going on another cruise in 2028, it's kind of got lower on my bucket list. So someday, hopefully, but kind of liking maybe NCL for Alaska cruise because
Yeah,
of the observation lounge. I like the observation lounge, and you can sit in the observation lounge and look out at all that stuff and stay warm.
yeah, I wouldn't mind doing the one that goes out of Hawaii, and it then ends up to Alaska. You know, you get all that in one, but that's like probably a 2 or 3 week trip. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a lot. It's. I remember. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was either 14 or 16. It was a long one, but I'd do it. I like the longer cruises because you can learn the ship.
That's why I prefer like a 7 or 8 day cruise. I haven't gone on anything longer, but I enjoyed the Carnival breeze, but it seemed like we were just getting into it and it was over.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's over already? Whereas I know when I was on the Horizon, it was an 8 day, 7 nights, and it was like, you've been there for several days and you went, we still got 3 more days. So it was like, it's not over yet. There's still lots to do. I just found the 5 day was just like, I was just getting into it. It's like, oh, we're headed back to Galveston already. Bummer. I don't want to get off. Minimum they will do is 6 days, maximum 8. I've done 2 8s and a 5. And I like the 8. My preference is the 8. Just because of work, yeah, that's when you have to worry about PTO. So if you can go from, well, you got, depending where you're going, at travel times like going to Alaska, you're gonna have travel time on there too. And that's me. I was like, definitely have to go a day before, because by the time you get to the airport and you travel down and then get to, there was no way I'd make it on a cruise if I was trying to travel same day. Now, why can't we hit the lottery? We need to.
We all can't be Billy J.
Well, I just need 2 holidays a year that are 6 months long. No, I enjoy traveling. I enjoy cruising. I just need to win the lottery so I could fund my addiction I have now. But I am saving. I've already started saving for 2028. I've already put money aside, so
Yeah, I'm saving for 2028, 27, 26.
2026, not going too far. I'm going, won the lotto, I would go see all your YouTube friends, right? 2026, I think the only traveling I'm doing is going across the border to my cousin's to pet sit in the end of July, beginning of August. I go down to Tennessee. My cousin's stepdaughter's getting married. So I'm going to go across, watch her dog and cat, and I forget who's going to stay at her mom's and watch Mia. I'm not sure if her son and youngest daughter are going or not. Because I think the son might be going to my aunt's to watch Mia. It'll be interesting. I don't have any plans for 26, 27. I don't know. It's too far away. Yes, if I won the lotto, I would be traveling and want to meet up with our YouTube friends too, especially Danny. Have to go meet up with Danny.
Danny sure was fun to meet.
Oh, won the lotto, I could go to Helen, Georgia. So my biggest expense is flights, aside from cruise, but the biggest expense is flights to go. 2026 doing nothing besides hopefully seeing Scott in North Carolina, and hopefully September seeing Big Bro and sister-in-law. It depends on their house thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, another channel I follow too, that they're from Alaska, and the mom and the kids flew down, but the dad and the grandfather drove their van from Alaska down to, it was like Ohio. They bought a pickup truck, and then they bought an RV, and then the father and grandfather traveled down to Florida, and the family met them in Florida. Now the whole family is traveling through the states back to Alaska, and they're showing North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Today they were showing Tennessee, and have moved into Alabama, but they're a few weeks behind. So it's been interesting to see the sights through our eyes. But North Carolina looked interesting. Just a little bit they showed. But brother and his wife and Uncle Dave are coming next month. That's right. With all the power washing of the deck, getting prepared. I'm just going to wait and seeing what's going on here, because my oldest listed his house again, and I'm hoping it sells. And if it sells, then he'll be moving in here. My youngest will be moving down to the basement. But we'll see what happens there. Moving the end of June, they have some painting to do, new floors in August, and now they have to replace French door windows, like sliding window doors. Yep, got to make it pretty for company. Have a members video for Chris and Liz. Sooner or later, I'm going to get there, so I can catch up on all those members videos. I have FOMO. I want to see them. That's what Big Bro said last night. Are they in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, right, Danny? My only experience of Chicago was landing at Midway Airport, sitting there for a very short time, and then taking off again. That was nuts. Because we landed in a snowstorm. They had to plow part of it, and we had to wait for a plane to taxi out of our gate so we could taxi into the gate. And then it's like a U shape, and we landed over here, and we had to get to over here, and we had about 20 minutes before it started boarding. I've never power walked so fast in my life. And then we get there, and we still had plenty of time. I don't like them that close together. That happened to me and the kids the first time. Yeah, first time we flew out, when we flew out west. Coming back, we had change planes in Winnipeg, and we literally landed, got off one plane, walked over like 2 gates, and got on the other plane. They were already boarding. I was not happy with that one because I had to go to the bathroom so bad and couldn't go until we were in the air and they had turned off the seatbelt sign. Love Chicago, but traffic is crazy there. There's 2 seasons in Chicago. Construction season. You forgot the other one. That's basically here. We have winter and we can have construction season. No, I haven't, other than picking my cousin up at the beginning of the month. I haven't traveled to London lately, so I don't know whether they've started any new construction. I'll find that out. Probably not till June. I think it's beginning of June, middle of June. She goes back up, and she's only up for 6 weeks, I think. And then she comes back between my birthday and the wedding. I think she gets back like the 25th of July. And I have to leave on the 27th to get to Tennessee. Yeah, Jenna's mother. We're coming home from Miami. We changed planes in Chicago. Our first part of the flight was with Chris and Kelly, and then Chris and Kelly went their way, and we went our way, and it was a very quick goodbye. Get off the plane. See ya. Nice meeting you. But one thing I did like, the Miami to Chicago was just over, it was like 2.5 hours, and then Chicago to Detroit was a little less than 2 hours. So it was like boom, boom, and then just the drive home from Detroit. It seemed like a very short travel day, although it started very early. The 6 a.m. flights for the birds. Was your flight early?
When I went on MCL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was around 7, 6:30, around 7 something.
I guess.
But I don't dare fly in the day of any cruise.
No, I would never do that. Never.
I know someone on here that did that, barely made it to his cruise. But
sometimes it's not avoidable, but that's just asking for trouble if there's any glitch along the way. Same with driving, but I know some people that, they live close enough and they drive the few hours, but I'd still be scared something would happen on the highway, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
I mean, there are a lot of YouTubers I watch that live 2 to 3 hours from the port, and they get up that morning and they drive to the port. But my luck, I'd be living 3 or 4 hours away, and I'd get down there, and then there'd be an accident on the highway, and you're stuck for hours.
Accident, or I get a flat tire or something would go on my vehicle. Like I've had an alternator die while I was traveling. I was like, that wasn't planned, and that would screw things up.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say they moved to Florida or they moved to the port just so they don't have to drive. But still, if you're living 3 or 4 hours away, that's still a drive to me.
We drive the day of only to Tampa and Miami. Port Canaveral is 3.5 plus hours, almost 4. Go up the night before. You hope to meet Chris and Lewis one day. Oh, I had that wish fulfilled in November. That was the best part of the trip. Honestly, it was meeting Chris and Liz in person. It will happen. Yep, it will happen. I know. I'm not a fan of early flights, and I'm just trying to think. Flying to Miami the first time, I think, was an early flight, but I don't think it was till like 7. Flying home was an early flight the first time. I'm trying to think. Flying to Galveston, I don't think was as early. And flying home from Galveston, we didn't leave till like 10 o'clock at night. That was, and that was kind of too late because by the time we got back into Detroit, it was like 1 a.m. And then we still had to get from the airport to the hotel, which was it's not a fancy hotel, but the hotel had a locked parking lot beside it, so you could take the shuttle over to the airport, and your vehicle was secured in that locked parking lot for the week. But by the time we got back, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then we were starving. The only thing open is McDonald's. So by the time we got to sleep, and then it was nice we could actually sleep in a little bit and then get up and drive back to Sarnia. They dropped me off, and then they headed home from there. Which was another long travel day. But yeah, going down this time to Miami was both early flights down, early flight back. And I'm like, oh, we got to be at the airport 3 hours ahead of time because it was just after all that shutdown stuff. So
Yeah, that is bad.
that was the panic. It's like, we better get there early. Better get there early. I think we were almost 4 hours early getting to Detroit.
When I go on my next trip, it's a land trip, but my flight don't leave till 7:45 at night. But I leave on the 11th, but I arrive on the next morning, which is the 12th, because it's a different country.
Yeah, I watched some travel videos, and I was like, I don't know if I would want to do. Like, my longest flights I've been on have been like 4 hours or 4 and a bit hours. I don't know if I would really want to do anything longer.
Mine was 12, my longest.
It would have to be a red eye so I could try to sleep.
Yeah, that's what they suggest when you're going from the U.S. to Amsterdam or Europe. You leave at night. You leave in the afternoon and you get there early in the morning, between 10. My flight gets in, I think, at 10 o'clock the next morning, 10 something. So now I'll sleep most of the time, probably.
Going over the ocean, there's not a lot to see, especially at night. It'd be dull dark. So that one I might be able to sleep, but I don't. Otherwise, I don't think I could handle that long. But I don't have any plans on going that far.
I almost had a cruise out of London, but I couldn't get my flight changed. And so I said, I'm not. And they said, yeah, we'll change it for $900. I said, it wasn't for $900 to start with, so I'm not changing it for another $900. No. So I just missed out on the cruise. It was a 12-day, and it was only going to be like $500. And I said, oh, I'll just miss it.
Well,
I'm not losing $900.
The only place I would go that far to travel if I won the lottery, and that would be a long shot, would be to go to Australia and New Zealand. That would be the only time I would go that long on an airplane. And I would fly from here to the West Coast somewhere and then fly from there down. Probably take a day in between just to, so I'm not flying straight. I wouldn't want to fly all the way to whatever, California, Texas, whatever, and then go there to Australia. That's too long on a plane. The earliest flight we take is 11 a.m. for Chicago, going there, and it depends on the way back. I know when we went down, we had a layover in, I think it was like probably a couple hours in Nashville. But, something that long, it's not long enough to go anywhere. And there really wasn't anything to see out the windows of the airport. Just planes taking off and landing, but you couldn't see much. And Chicago, couldn't see anything because it was snowing.
Now, I wouldn't mind going to like the Singapore airport and sleeping in the airport. They have an actual hotel in the airport, but you've got a whole park, whole everything in there. Lots of stuff to
do. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, but I'm not traveling just for the airport. Thank gosh, we're waiting for YouTube to watch while waiting for the plane to board. And the one thing I do like about YouTube is, looking about traveling and airports and flights and stuff like that is well, I kind of researched flying into New York when we were coming home from Miami the first time. Can you see anything flying into LaGuardia? And it was pretty cool because, wow, you can see if you got the right, you can see the Statue of Liberty, you can see Lower Manhattan, and I saw nothing. It was overcast all the way down to the bloody ground. I was so disappointed on that. But I've researched things. What should I be able to see? Or flying to Miami both times, it was like the first time we flew down, it was like we followed the coast all the way down, or most of the way, because we got to was even north of Fort Lauderdale. Then you finally could see the edge of the coast, and I looked down and I could see the cruise ship, but it only looked about this long. I don't know what cruise ship it was. And then it was like, are we at Miami yet? Well, there's an airport. No, that's we're still going, so we're not descending, so can't be there yet. And then it was not much longer than we were descending into, and then we kind of come around, and when we were coming low, and you've seen all the high-rise apartments and some boats and stuff like that, but not really paying attention. But this time when we flew in, we came down on the Gulf side and then took a turn around and came into Miami. But it was cool when we turned around and we're coming down into Miami. I looked across and I could see the cruise port, and there was cruise ships. And now I did get pictures or video, I can't remember which one. And you can see them, but it still looks small. I tried to zoom in, but it was like, that's cool. You can see that. On my way to Switzerland, Switzerland be back. Couldn't watch YouTube, but I came on when brother, sister-in-law was skiing. I love the picture of you guys up in the mountains. That was beautiful. A beautiful picture. That'd be pretty. I love the mountains from the plane. We flew to out west. We landed in Calgary, and then we flew from Calgary to Vancouver. So we went over the mountains, and it was in the daytime. I didn't have a window seat, so I couldn't get good pictures, but it was kind of cool to look down and see mountains and the snow tops and stuff. But if I ever fly out there again, I will definitely have a window seat. That's my preference, as a window seat, so because I get a little bit nervous flying. I'm better than I used to be, but if I can look out the window and get distracted, I know it's kind of weird. My big things are takeoff and landing, but being able to look down, when we flew to Texas and looking down, going, oh, that's a really big river. Oh, that's got to be the Mississippi. And I looked it up when we got down there, and it's like, yep.
Good night, Liz.
Night, Liz. Hope your back feels better. Get some rest. It's cool they had a restaurant up there. The last day we did that. Boy, it was cold. Yeah, it would be cold at that elevation. And now I looked up where the Mississippi did this little loop, and it was like, okay, that was around Tennessee, Arkansas. Had an idea where the different states were. I said to B when we were up in it's like, gee, I wish they had the state line so you could tell when one state ended and the next one began. But, like, they have them on the maps, but it's like, that doesn't happen. But it would be nice. You fly up in the air and you go, okay, there's the border. Okay, there's the other border. But you can't see unless there's kind of landmarks, whether it's a river that divides it, or like along here we have the Great Lakes that separate us from the U.S. up until Lake Superior. Then you couldn't really go look across Canada and tell where the border is. Now we're going to wrap up anyways. Thanks for coming in, everybody. And anybody watching on the replay, thanks for anybody who participated or donated during the cruise-a-thon on the weekend. Still, I put the Zeffy link in the description. If anybody's watching on the replay and would like to donate to Helping Hands to put a hero on a cruise in 2028, we would love your help. Otherwise, I'm going to say goodnight until next week. Thanks for coming in. Bye for now, guys.
Hi, everybody. See you next week.